get it to, we need to get it to 20 questions or less, I think.
Yeah, I don't know who the survey person is.
No, I think, we don't have one, so that's us, but I'm just saying, that's how there's people that's, objective people that don't care about the topic, that get the questions in a good format.
Well, I think what we said was, or what we chalked out here is that we pretty much covered, once we finished doing the interviews that we've already signed up for, that we've pretty much covered all the main functional areas, boards and committees, etc. So we have, if we simplify the questions further, if we go on from there to ask more people, like if we go to the various boards, etc., or ask any additional people, then simplified questions make sense. But we've gotten the long answers from everybody at that point. Not everybody, but the main areas of functionality.
The issue also, if you change anything now, you're starting with a different end. You're changing, it's a moving target, and that erodes at the statistical significance of this.
Yeah.
So you said you had one in February coming up, and
February 9th.
February 9th, and what was your discussion with Joe Geller?
I don't have my 2 questions here, I brought them the last time, but I'll type them up and send it to you. Some of it is like, it's he wasn't frustrated at all, I guess, is the bottom line.
And do you recall what his response was when you asked him about, I guess 2 questions. One, does he want anything to change? I'm gonna guess what that is, but if you just say it. And then 2, what was his thoughts on centralization versus not centralization?
I'll have to look at my notes. I do know, like with regard to the current town administration, he could get a little frustrated, but I said, again, we're taking people out of this, think about structure. And that's hard for some people, because they have, they're living and working in this town, and that's all they know. But you'll see that you answered every question.
I also don't know that we're at a point yet to share responses. At some point, maybe we can decide whether or not we want to compile all the responses, set up some kind of table.
And blind it. Yeah. So.
And what?
Blind, blind, like if you set up a chart or grid on the responses, you don't want to say, so-and-so said this, so you want general concepts, I think, is what you first laid out.
Yeah, whatever the responses were to the questions is really what we have to put in there. But the questions are aimed at drawing out problems that people see with the operation of town government.
Yeah, but if you take off who answered the question, that takes some of the personal part of this out. So
people might be able to figure it out, right? That was the goal, just to put everything in a blinded table.
Yeah, and to get the general thoughts and consensus and weighted average of everything.
One of the things that we were just discussing was that it seems pretty apparent that most people are not keen on changes so far. So, with the exception of maybe the moderator, or maybe consideration of a consolidated Department of Public Works. So that's basically what we talked about earlier. So, okay, we have a meeting coming up, let's see, 22nd, 29th, the 5th.
5th would be Tuesday, yes.
I'm completely, I'm already double booked those.
I will acknowledge I am also out of state on the 5th.
Okay.
Never mind.
Staying on the 5th, and do you want to schedule something for another night to accommodate your schedules, or not?
I can do the 4th.
As a reminder.
Yeah.
You
You can't get one.
I have a Thanksgiving meeting.
Yeah.
Maybe if it weren't budget season, I could.
I can do the following Tuesday, and then I'll have my other interview done. I don't know if that interests.
To go 3 weeks between meetings? Are you out of state for a day, or are you out of state for the week?
I'm out for 7 days.
7 days.
So what about the 12th?
I'll be back.
The other option is, the 3 of us can have a quick meeting on the 5th, and then hold another meeting.
Well, that
Oh,
works.
Robert, lucky you.
That works for me.
Yeah.
My lucky me. Oh, that
You
is,
get to
because
be twice.
Let's
He
kind of
just
plan
gave
on
you a
that.
way to get off the hook.
I really, I don't know what we're gonna have to discuss on the 5th yet, I have to think about the agenda. If there's nothing to discuss, I'm not gonna waste your time.
Yeah.
I would like to give some, and maybe we think about this and talk about it on the 5th, some thought to how we're going to consolidate the information. I think that's-
Yeah, that's really important how we do that. It's probably the most important
Yeah.
thing that we think about.
So maybe you guys can discuss it on the 5th.
We might all have to be here.
I don't know,
That's
we're
true,
just talking
because
about.
they decide, they can make you.
Right.
Well, we don't have to, maybe we
We
could
can take a
discuss.
3-person binding vote.
Yeah, because it is binding, you guys. Well, maybe we could discuss it and come up with some options that we can then nail down.
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm just, we've all got all this information.
Yeah, so it's just, I've put all of mine into a single Excel spreadsheet, so I've got all the questions in column A,
See,
Board of Health
John,
answers in column B,
I
alcohol in
think-
column C, moderator in column D.
I have mine in Word. I think doing something like that is a great idea.
Yeah.
And so we don't necessarily recreate the wheel, if you'd share, a blank copy of that, that would be great.
Happy to do so.
And somehow we have to tally, the part that I struggle with the open-ended questions is, how do we tally them, whether they say in favor or not in favor? I mean, that's my.
Yeah,
maybe-
mine
maybe-
is full of words.
Yeah, maybe you have to read the 12 or 14 different answers and say, okay, what are the gists of these answers?
What's
7 said this, 4 said that, in general.
Is there a string that goes
Yeah,
through it
yeah.
that is similar?
Yeah,
The weight of the answers said blank.
yeah.
There was no strong objection to blank, or there was a strong objection to blank. I think that's what you said.
Or this one was not?
But so far, I don't think we have that, so the weight, I think my, hearing what you guys have said, and from my discussions, there may be some variation, but I've not heard any really strong feeling toward any of the questions. No.
Yeah, I didn't hear it in mine too either.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe something will come out when we get them all together and we can look at it, but,
I was, I agree. I was surprised, I was not surprised. The idea of, no, we like it the way it is. We've been here, and both have been here a long time.
People also may not like change, and,
This is true.
they don't know whether they're factoring that into anything.
yeah,
It's a given.
particularly if you have a particular area of expertise and the way you're doing it works.
Yeah.
But you're also to me, I've talked to two, and I'm sure that some of you will feel the same way, to high-level intelligent women who volunteered for a long time in this town. And I think that, I think that needs to be considered. I think that we can't just say, well, they're there for a little bit at a time. One has been on several boards and has been volunteering for 40 years. Liz just talked about being the historic advisor for the town hall, and that was kind of interesting. But it's a lot of work. So, and I'm sure that the people you met with is the same. I don't know where I'm going with this, but.
I don't know, I think we need to be sensitive to persons who are involved, but I personally don't feel as if the persons involved, we shouldn't make decisions for getting a state special act based on the persons involved. My personal feeling is,
No,
What-
I'm not saying
yeah.
that. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying that what they've said should be respected. But I don't think we're disrespecting them.
so tentatively, we'll meet on fifth.
Mhm.
If that's the case, I'll send out an agenda for, to everybody for meeting on the fifth. And one of those things on the agenda will be, organization of responses.
And
Yes,
are we
also
going to
in-
have it,
Also in your Excel.
yeah,
Yeah, that was your
yeah, I
question.
was gonna ask.
I'll-
for your
I'll
percent.
just take my Excel spreadsheet
Yeah, strip it
and,
from the
and I'll
answers.
and I'll remove the answers.
Yeah.
You'll remove these?
Does,
Mhm.
does it,
If that's okay. Or do you want, or do you want,
Why not keep them in?
I think.
All right, that would be difficult to, we get a
I'll
merge.
leave it to you. Doesn't matter. Happy to share my answers if you want to.
How many?
You guys know how to hide columns, right?
Not
It's
much more-
imperative to
much
hide
more-
columns so you can just see the question in one person's answer at a time.
much,
When you're typing, yeah, how would you?
I'm much more fluent with Word than I am with Excel. But we need to have.
We haven't talked since morning.
You said you wanted to go.
15 columns, it seems. 15 columns for people. And so,
Maybe short, because, you know, I've got four, I mean, I'll bet alcohol's not on there.
oh yeah, sorry.
Cultural's not on there.
Why don't we make 20 columns, just, you can take the first 5 columns, you take the second 5, third 5, fourth 5, fifth 5, 25 columns. Something like that, just so we don't, I don't know, it's just,
No, or you just put it in your first 5 columns and you send it to me and I'll copy and paste them into that.
okay.
Or we make them separate workbooks or something, worksheets, whatever.
Yeah, we should.
This is our job.
We can do what
This
that
is doing-
anyway, everybody had their own worksheet.
Yeah, that's not what we do.
I would prefer just to keep the responses blank, just
Sure.
send it out blank.
Strip it out.
Yeah, that's what I plans.
No.
We didn't talk about the school committee. Does anyone want to call the chair of the school?
I said I would do it,
You didn't? Okay.
but if anybody wants, if anybody is interested.
That was the equivalent of us all taking one step back, so
Yeah.
you can call the school committee chair.
Okay. There's just the elementary.
Yes. I personally don't see Masco as, they got their own charter and special act, they're separate. I don't see any reason to. Yeah, it's pretty or disagree.
Great.
Correspondence and materials. I haven't checked my email in a couple days. Don't recall getting any correspondence related to what we're doing here. Did the public records request at our last meeting, I discussed that. When you're emailing me now, use my Gmail address and the Topsfield address. I get my Gmail email more frequently right to my smartphone. I see it, I'm more likely to respond quickly. And copy the town account for public records purposes, but, so that, if you could do that for me, that'd be great. I think I copied, you all have that from the last email I sent, I think. Should be on there, if you still have that, I thought I'd give it to you. Anyone else get any correspondences? Any materials, share? Upcoming meeting schedule, tentatively on the 5th, definitely on the 12th. 7:30, if we meet on the 5th, you guys want to meet at 7 or 7:30 or earlier? We don't have, you
It
would rather
doesn't
meet
matter
earlier?
to me.
This is 7 would be fine. Right, meet earlier.
Let's say tentatively 7 PM on the 5th.
Back to 7:30 on the 12th.
Yes. else anyone have to discuss? John, do you want to make?
At 8:55, I would like a motion to adjourn.
Nope, somebody
One,
else.
one question from the audience?
Yeah, I was delinquent last meeting.
Yes, you are.
Just a comment, my observation too, I totally agree, the expertise of these committees is almost irreplaceable. One thing they do contribute is they're focused on a very specific area, but they also can help recruit and mentor somebody new, which I think is pretty powerful because they know this subject. If Greg Crum left, for example, you've got the gentleman from Cambridge Water Company, he knows the business. They can and you know how important a mentor is sometimes. These are isolated, different disciplines. So that, I think that's a real benefit. You were talking about a lot of older people sometime retiring, how do we replace them on the boards? One concept I've heard about is, in the past, I think the town used to have associate board members or something like that. They were non-voting, but they attended the meetings.
That's governed by statute, like the planning board has associate members, and there may be something we could consider, special act, if that's where we headed, but, some have voting power, some don't, like some sit in
Yeah.
on meetings, if, say, one person knows they won't be able to attend all the hearings, but I don't know, that probably does help, but I don't know if it helps. So it probably helps train somebody, but I don't know if it helps because we've had difficulty, I think, filling a lot of these board positions, haven't we?
Yeah, well, just something I didn't want to lose. I thought it was a pretty good idea on some of these boards that require a lot of background to get going.
Right.
And just a last observation is, when you consolidate, one of the things I think you're gonna see right away is which questions really are very weak, or you get NA on.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see it simplified pretty fast.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the spreadsheet's a great idea.
It also might be, this little idea of when if we consolidate the questions and go back to the boards and ask the board members, maybe we could ask them how they think they could be replaced. You know, how do they see the board in 10 years?
Ask them for how they view the
Suggestions.
transitions
Yeah,
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, any discussions on the motion on the floor? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussions? Hearing none. Vote.
I'll race you to 21
Aye.
Windsor.
8:58. Thank you.
Did you,
No, you can.
is this the one that,
That's a big one.
I think I emailed that to you.
Just get on.